Welcome to the 12th Horseshoe podcast presented by Proven Italian Eatery in Moonachie, New Jersey. Jack Rizzo, Elijah Weintraub here. Welcome to your Week 12 recap and happy Thanksgiving to all. Today is Tuesday. We are 2 days away from Thanksgiving. And what better way to recap some football games and preview what's ahead to look forward to on this upcoming Thanksgiving and Black Friday slate of games. First off, Jack, how are we doing today?
Doing good, Eli. Just getting ready for Thanksgiving. It's my favorite holiday, so I'm super excited for that. It's gonna be, even though the weather doesn't look that great for Thanksgiving this year, Eli, it's still gonna be a great day. And Week 12 was a big one, Eli. It shook up the playoff picture a lot in both conferences, and I'm excited to break it down with you.
All right, let's go ahead and break it all down. We talked about the Browns win over the Steelers on Friday. They defeated the Steelers 24-19. The bye week teams this week were the Falcons, the Bills, the Bengals, the Jaguars, the Saints, and the Jets. And the first matchup we're going to talk about today, a bad loss for the Colts, 24-6. The Lions proven to be just as dominant and could win and clinch the playoffs this very weekend if San Francisco loses. So watch out for the Lions, and they need a win. So they won the game 24-6. I had the lock of the week, so I got that right. Overall, Jack went 8-5. Eli went 9-4 on picks this week. I went 2-1 on LSU. Jack went 1-2 on LSU. So happy to say that. And Jack, go ahead, break down this game.
Well, I'm sure you're happy to say, Eli, because you're not really used to it. It's only the second time all year you've won the weekly picks. But congratulations. Congratulations.
Thanks,
way.
Jack.
Well, I will say, Eli, I am proud of the Colts defense for only holding this Lions offense to 24 points and only 10 points in the second half. So the Colts defense was not it was not the problem. The run defense was not great, but either way, like
offense,
well, unfortunately, when you have three rookie offensive linemen starting against one of the league's best front sevens, it's not going to go very well.
Quarterback too.
No, not the quarterback, because I actually watched the game.
No, I know. I'm saying, like, he just came back, though. Like, it's his first, like, big game.
But Anthony Richardson played well enough for the Colts to win this game. Anthony Richardson over 100 pass yards in this game that was called 100%. Back by penalties. Holding penalties. The tight ends just can't catch. We have probably the worst tight end room in the league. Our receiver room is a little bit banged up right now. Like Michael Pittman's dealing with injuries. Josh Downs got injured in this game. Alec Pierce even had an injury at one point. So it's still, like, as I said before the season, Eli, that this was a year of growing for the Colts. It wasn't supposed to be a year of contention. Like 9-8 last year was weird. We had a very easy schedule, but give credit to the Lions. Eli, Aaron Glenn is doing a fantastic job as their defensive coordinator. Should be a very highly touted head coaching candidate this cycle. And the Lions, Eli, get their 10th win and probably just a couple more wins here, Eli, and they'll be locked into the playoffs for the second straight year.
All right, fantastic there. We're going to move along to a bad loss for the Texans, 32-27. Again, the Texans love to have these close games, but this time it wasn't a win for them. It was a loss. Jack had the Texans for his lock of the week. That was clearly wrong. And unfortunately, we both picked the Texans. That was also clearly wrong. But one heck of a fight there by the Titans became victorious. And what is this to say about the Texans team as we are near the final marks before playoffs officially kick off?
Well, there is definitely a reason to be concerned about this Houston Texans team right now. That offensive line has just been atrocious all season, and even like CJ Stroud has not played well at all. It feels like it feels like something is off there. I don't know if it's the offensive coordinator. I don't know if it's a sophomore slump for CJ Stroud, but they're just not playing well right now. And they have enough. I mean, they've had Nico Collins back for a couple weeks now. You have Joe Mixon, you have Tank Dell, and you have a great defense. There's no reason the Texans should be losing like this, but they just are. And I will give some credit to Will Levis because he had an injury earlier in the season, wasn't playing well, and he played very well on Sunday. Still has a lot of stuff to work on, but played very well against a really solid Houston defense, Eli. And this was definitely one of the bigger upsets of 2024 so far. And Eli, even though the Texans are 2 games ahead in first place, this division is not over just yet. Again, the Colts are only 2 games behind. Maybe even Tennessee will come back a little bit and come close, Eli. But with the way the Texans are playing right now, there is definitely a reason to be concerned with them moving forward.
All right, next game to watch out for. Well, not watch out for what we picked. Dolphins over the Patriots, 34-15. Not much to say there. Dolphins had the survivor pick. Jack's survivor pick for the Dolphins was right. And not much more to say, but it was a good win for the Dolphins, and they play the Patriots. That's not much more I could add there. But go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, we're starting to see the Dolphins team that we saw last year. Tua Tagovailoa looks like his old self again. He's getting the ball out to his weapons. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Wild, Devon Achane, Johnny Smith is having a career year for them, which is big for them. And I think the really impressive thing, though, about Miami has been their defense, which even when Tua was out, was playing very, very well. If Miami's going to get to the playoffs, Eli, in 2024, it's going to be on the backs of their defense. Specifically. And Miami has a pretty manageable schedule the rest of the way. They still play the Jets twice. They have some other winnable games in there as well. They have a tough one this coming Thursday, which we'll talk about in a second. But don't count out this Miami team, Eli. They are very much in this AFC playoff race as we come to December.
All right, the next game is the Commanders lose to the Cowboys 34-26. The Commanders should have won that game. They tied it and missed the kick. They could have tied the game. They could have tied it, and they missed the kick. Out of all the things, the Commanders, I did not see this coming to lose like that. And I'm very impressed with the Cowboys, at least to put up that many points. I'm shocked to even see that happen. What's going to happen when they play the Giants, another divisional team this weekend? But like I said, I'm really shocked. But that was actually a great game to watch. Really. I really was shocked. And not much more I could say there. And Jack, go ahead.
Well, Eli, it's quite shocking, isn't it? I mean, 3 weeks ago, the Commanders were sitting at 7-2. It looked like they had a chance to be the top seed, not only in the NFC East, but in the entire conference. And now, Eli, 3 weeks later, 3 consecutive losses, and call me crazy, Eli, it's not a guarantee they're even going to make the playoffs at this point. So that offense has really stalled out these last couple of weeks, and the defense, honestly, Eli, I think the defense has actually been pretty bad this year. I think Jay and Daniels was just scoring so many points early in the year, it really didn't matter, but man, Eli, this defense is not playing well right now, and there is definitely a cause for concern in Washington right now, Eli. They have got to get back on track, back to where they were the first half of the season, but this is the Cliff Kingsbury effect, Eli. Every single year, the Commanders, every single year where Cliff Kingsbury is, whether he's in Washington, in Arizona, at Texas Tech, they start the season off great, and then they lose their final 6 games or their final 7 games. So it's just the Cliff Kingsbury effect for some reason, and the Commanders have got to get back on track. They have a chance to do that next week, although I'm not even sure if that's going to happen. We'll talk about that on Friday. Maybe a little spoiler there for you. And as for the Cowboys, yeah, they won the game. I don't really know if they deserve to win. They made a lot of mistakes and nearly blew the game, but hey, they won and keeps their playoff hopes alive for now. That's what I'll say.
For now.
Yeah, that's why I said for now.
That's a key word there. But another game we'll talk about here. I'm going to skip the one on our sheet, Jock. We're going to go to the next one, then come back to that one. Since we're going to stick with the NFC East right now, we're going to go with the Buccaneers Giants game. And the Giants lose 30-7, 7th final. We now learned today that Tommy DeVito Cutlets is dealing with an injury right now, forearm. He is not 100% and may not play versus Dallas. So we may see Drew Lock for the first time, and they have officially released Daniel Jones. So now we may be going back to Drew Lock first Thanksgiving versus the Dallas Cowboys. But this Giants team really disappointed. The Buccaneers, they are lucky that they won that game big, and it was by 30. Now we'll see if they can continue to stay strong and win these games and win first place in their respective division.
Eli, I feel very confident saying that the Bucs are going to win the NFC South. Their schedule is super easy the rest of the way.
Yep.
I don't like the way the Falcons have been playing. I really don't care. They're just not a very good team. They just had an easy schedule. Now, Eli, the one thing is that the Falcons did sweep the Bucs this year, so Tampa Bay's going to have to finish a game ahead of them in order to win the division. But they can do it, though, Eli. Baker Mayfield still playing like a Pro Bowl quarterback. He got Mike Evans back. The Bucs have a really good running back room with Rashad White and Bucky Irving. They're doing a great job there. And the Tampa Bay defense, Eli, looked like the Tampa Bay defense we saw last year. So it was a great sign to see, Eli. I know it's the Giants, but still an impressive win for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I'm looking forward, Eli, to see what they do the rest of this season. All
right. The next game we'll talk about here is the Vikings beat the Bears in overtime, 30-27. Another opportunity the Bears could have won, but they blew it. And they blew it in overtime. Very shocked about this ending and this result. But nonetheless, a huge win for the Minnesota Vikings. And wow. That's all I could say. Just wow.
Well, Eli, the Bears are in a similar spot with the Commanders. 5 weeks ago, they were sitting at 4-2. And ever since that Hail Mary that they gave up against the Commanders, they have just not been the same. 5 straight losses now for the Chicago Bears, including 3 in a row at home they've lost. It doesn't get much easier for them. They have Detroit on a short week. But I will say, Caleb Williams has played very well, which I think is really all the Bears fans could ask for. They're going to have a new coaching staff next year. I can't see Matt Eberflus sticking around. He's just not a very good coach. But great win. Good. Even though the Vikings nearly blew it, I mean, the Bears were down by 11 with under 30 seconds left, and they forced overtime. But the Vikings are 9-2, Eli. No matter what happens, Eli, the rest of the season, the fact that the Vikings have clinched a winning season after losing their starting quarterback for the season in the preseason and doing it in the first 11 games, that is remarkable.
It's crazy.
You got to give a lot of credit to Kevin O'Connell, Brian Flores, and that whole Vikings coaching staff. And I'm excited to see how the rest of the season plays out for them. We have a comment from
John Randall. He says, don't be surprised if Jacksonville makes the playoffs. They still have a shot at making the playoffs. All of the teams we play, except for the Texans, have a losing record. John, I'm going to start off here first. I think if the Jaguars could have won games prior, I think they still have a shot. I don't think they do have a shot at making this playoffs. I think it's just too late in the game. I mean, I'm looking at the schedule now. The Jets seem to be this wishy-washy team. Who knows what they do before December 15th, and if they keep Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. That's the big question here. The Titans, they are coming off of a win to the Indianapolis Colts, so it depends on what they do next week. The Titans are going to be playing just trying to find the game. They take on the Commanders, so they could be at a winning game. The Texans, well, they're coming off a loss, but I think they're going to be strong. I don't know. I mean, it's tough to say, but I don't think that this is going to be a playoff team to me. And he had, before I get to Jack, he says that, and they hear Trevor Lawrence is going to be practice this week, so there's a possibility he might play. Jack?
Well, John, the thing is, if the Jaguars are going to make the playoffs, they're going to have to win the AFC South. That's the only path I can see from making the playoffs. The AFC is just too strong this year. The Jaguars are already sitting at 2-9, which is not great. Basically, here's the thing, Eli. If the Broncos and the Chargers win one more game and Jacksonville loses one more game, then Jacksonville is done with the wild card.
Right.
They're going to need a mirror. And, Jacksonville plays Houston this week, Eli. If Houston beats Jacksonville, then Jacksonville cannot win the division. They can't. There's no way for them.
And it's impossible for wild card because they're going to, the teams in the very powerful, as you mentioned.
Yeah. And the thing is, Eli, is that I think Doug Peterson has just lost the locker room there. I just can't see any path for the Jacksonville Jaguars to be in the playoffs this year. It's just been too disappointing of the season. Like, I know Trevor Lawrence is coming back, John, but is he going to be 100%? Probably not. You just lost Gabe Davis for the season with an injury. There's a lot of injuries on that defense. It's going to be I would say a less than I would say a 0.1% chance they have at this point of making the playoffs. It's not impossible, Eli, but I just cannot see the Jaguars making the playoffs this year. But appreciate the question though.
Yes,
for sure.
Appreciate it. And everybody else, feel free to comment if you are watching. All right. Well, we talked about the Vikings Bears. Let's go to this one. The Panthers could have won a football game against one of the best teams in the National Football League. The Chiefs beat the Panthers, however, though 30-27. And what happens? Patrick Mahomes gets the ball back and with less than a minute to go, gets them close enough for field goal range, and they win the game. What a surprise there. Nobody should be really surprised there, but I'm actually shocked. I really am. I'm very impressed that they actually won this football game, the Chiefs, like that. I mean, if the Panthers would have won, like I said, I think they would have won and made a chance at making it for the playoffs because it was just that kind of a win if they would have gotten it. But it didn't happen. But they did play one heck of a game. So, Jack, I mean, go ahead. Give your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, Eli, this was quite the game. I mean, Bryce Young looks like the Bryce Young that was drafted number 1 overall by the Carolina Panthers last year. He's getting the ball out to his weapons. He looks much more comfortable in the pocket. The Panthers' run game has gotten going. Chuba Hubbard had another good performance. And, it's just been great, Eli, to see the growth of this team. Ever since Bryce Young came back from being benched, they've just looked like a much better football team, Eli. And there's still plenty of time left in the season for him to grow, get better. And I think for sure, Eli, that Bryce is the Panthers' future quarterback. I think Dave Canales is going to be a great head coach. Just got to get through the rest of the season, but then you could start building the team, build around Bryce, lots of cap space they can use. So give credit to the Panthers. Yeah, they're playing well, and you got to be proud of them. But yeah, Eli, this is just a situation of giving Patrick Mahomes too much time with the football to go down and win the game, which he did. But nothing to be ashamed of here if you're Carolina. It was an incredible game. Great job by them.
Absolutely. And the next game we'll talk about here is going to be the Broncos, who beat the Raiders 29-19. we expected this win to happen, but I think I was not expecting the Raiders to put up 19 points. I'll be quite honest with you. Yeah,
Well,
that's all I can say.
um,
I did not
there,
expect it.
a lot of those points the Raiders put up, to be fair, were garbage points at the end, so it kind of
Correct.
skewed it a little bit. I was so mad, Eli, because the Broncos were up 19-16. They scored a touchdown. It was 25-16, which I predicted the score would be. I was really hoping that he would miss the extra point, but
Nope.
unfortunately, he did not. Well, you had 25-15, so actually, we had almost exactly the same score, which is pretty funny.
Jeez.
But one thing to note here, Eli, is that Gardner Minshew suffered a broken collarbone in this game, and he is out for the rest of the season. And the Raiders have an injury to Aiden O'Connell as well. Now, it looks like AOC might be back this week to play the Chiefs on Black Friday. We'll have to see. But it's going to be a rough rest of the season for the Raiders, Eli. There is definitely a good chance they can end up with the first overall pick in the draft. And as for the Broncos, Eli, another win for them. Bo Nix is probably the offensive rookie of the year right now. And Denver looks like they could be on their way to a playoff berth, but there's still lots of time though in the season. We'll have to see how it plays out.
Unfortunately for this next game, injuries took the best of it for San Francisco. And what should have been a good game was not. 38-10 was the final. Green Bay with the victory here. And Green Bay got lucky that San Francisco had a lot of injuries, because if not, would have been a great game and would have been a test for Green Bay nonetheless. But instead, a blowout win for them. Jack.
Wow, what a game, yeah. This is a get right. This is what you call a get right game for the Green Bay Packers, and they definitely took advantage. 3 touchdowns for Josh Jacobs. Jordan Love looked much better throwing the football, and the Packers defense has just done an unbelievable job this season. I mean, Xavier McKinney himself has 7 interceptions. What a signing he was. Man, the Giants lost their best player on offense and their best player on defense, and look at what they're doing now with their respective teams. We'll get to the offensive player in a little bit, but the Packers look really good, Eli, and the 49ers, Eli, I think they're done. I just don't think there's enough time for them. They have a lot of injuries. Brock Purdy's coming back this week, but he's probably still not going to be 100%. And they have a very, very difficult challenge in front of them going to Buffalo in December. That is not easy.
And there's a winter weather advisory in effect for the game. It's going to be very bad with the snow, and it's already covered the stadium.
Wow. Okay. So, yeah, it certainly is going to be rough there, Eli. And, yeah, I just don't think the 49ers or the Bills are going to have enough time, the 49ers are going to have enough time to get back in the playoff race. That's what I've got there for you.
Yeah. Well, I don't blame you, but this is a disappointment. And I think for the Packers, I wouldn't say that they are the best, because you know why? The Packers, I'm not saying they're the best right now, and I'm not saying the defense is elite, because they just played San Francisco with half of their offensive guys out on injury, who've been struggling even against even the slightest and weak teams.
That's
so I
true,
wouldn't say that
you
I
have
can
to
give my full praise to the Packers yet, because I've not seen it yet.
well,
When
you
I
have to realize
see the
though, Eli.
Packers real big team and go crazy and win a game like that, then I'll give it.
Well, you have to realize that the Packers defense was elite before this game. They just had another great performance, but you have to
They had
understand
another great
that.
performance because it was, again, a weak team. That's again.
But their defense has had good performance against good teams. Like the Texans, they dominated
Correct.
against the Bears. The Bears have a lot of good receivers. They
Well,
played
the
well
Bears was
against
a
them.
50-50 situation, but yeah.
The Packers have had. I think the Packers defense is elite. Their offense needs work, but their defense, I think, is elite. So that's
We'll
what I'll
see
say
what
about
happens.
that.
They have a big test Thanksgiving versus Dolphins. We'll get to those games in just a bit. But a game that meant so much to Seattle was a victorious victory. And I got my upset right, because the Seattle Seahawks defeated Arizona 16-6. I'm so happy, because you know what that proves right now, Jack? That we are the front runners to win the division. The Seahawks will win the division. Now thinking about it, I know I did not have it right, but I know I will, because if you think about it, San Francisco's out with sooner or later. LA's and Arizona's and the Seahawks keep on winning. That's a we're gonna be making that playoffs, baby. That's what I'm loving. I love it. I really do, and I'm happy. And like I said, I think the Seahawks have a shot if we can continue to keep winning. We have the Jets next weekend. We have a couple of other teams. I think we have to play Arizona again, if I'm not mistaken. So towards the end of the season, we do have, I believe, we don't have Arizona at the end of the season. We have them right after the Jets the following week. The Packers, which is going to be a great Sunday night game and tough to play. Vikings, which is going to be tough, and then you have the Bears and the Rams. So I think we have a front runner run shot at winning this whole thing, the division at least. But Jack,
Well,
go ahead.
I'll say this, Eli. Are the Seahawks the front runners in the division right now? Yes, they absolutely are. But here's the thing, though.
Are
I
they
am very
runners in the
concerned.
playoffs? No.
What I will say, though, Eli, I am concerned about Geno Smith. Geno Smith out there, I
Yes.
mean, he had a really bad turnover late in the game. Like, the Seattle defense came to save them. The defense played incredible, Eli, but the Seattle defense is still like wishy-washy. They'll play great one week and then they'll play horrible the
Next week
next
they're
week.
horrible.
Now, what I will say, Eli, that game against the Arizona Cardinals on December 8th, I think that will decide who ends up winning this division. No matter what happens this week, Eli, this upcoming week, that game with Seattle and Arizona will be for first place in the division again.
Yep.
So that will decide it, Eli. And then, so obviously, if Seattle wins against Arizona, Eli, then they'd have to have a pretty bad collapse the final 4 weeks to lose out in the division. I don't think the Rams are going to come back. I don't think the Niners are coming back either. I think it comes down to Seattle and Arizona. I can't predict who's going to win, Eli, because it's just too close right now, but we'll see
Absolutely.
what happens.
It really depends on what happens this week. Seattle, again, has the New York Jets this weekend. Meanwhile, the Cardinals, they're going to be playing at Minnesota versus the Vikings, which is going to be a good game to watch. I mean, it comes down to what these two teams do this weekend and what they possess entering that game on December 8th. Eagles, Rams, Saquon Barkley, 46 fantasy points he earned. That man is crazy, and he deserves to win MVP. I don't want to say no.
Absolutely.
I think I cannot name one better player this year except Saquon Barkley. As long as if he can continue to stay like this and stays healthy, he's your MVP, I think.
Chris Boswell.
37-20 the final. They defeated the Rams. Jack got that pick. Absolutely wrong with the upset. And yeah, Jack, tell us why Saquon Barkley is good, and tell us why you didn't decide to pick him.
Well, to be fair, Eli, I just had too much faith in the Rams. I'll be straight honest here. Like, listen, Matthew Stafford is a Super Bowl champion quarterback. Sean McVay is a Super Bowl champion head coach. The Rams have two of the best receivers in the league on offense with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. And that defense, that front seven is very good. The secondary is much improved. And, Eli, the Rams are starting to get healthy, and I thought the Eagles were due for us. They have won 6 in a row, but the Eagles really proved why they are the best team in the NFC East this year. And the Rams are just too wishy-washy as Finley makes an appearance.
Hey, there's Finley.
But I don't think I'm going to be. You know what though, Eli? I don't think I'll be picking the Rams the rest of the season. I'll just say that right now. So goodbye, Rams. I'm done with you. You stink. You're frauds. But yeah, give Saquon Barkley the MVP. He's the best player in the NFL right now. There's no doubt about that. 255 yards. Like, come on, that's ridiculous. The Giants seriously decide to keep Daniel Jones over him.
Is Finley still there?
Yes.
Okay. Well, regardless, Giants did a dumb choice, and we'll see about that because the Rams take on the Saints next weekend. Next game, the Ravens beat the Chargers in the Harbaugh battle, 30-23. Big win for the Ravens, and it was a battle of the Harbaughs. It was actually a decent game, but Chargers could have done a lot better though. And yeah.
Well, Eli, the Ravens. Derrick Henry was just too much for this Chargers defense to overcome. The Chargers had won 4 in a row, but even then they were kind of barely winning these games. So I think it was a bit of a humbling for them this week. The Chargers are still a good team. They still have a great chance to make the playoffs, but the Ravens, they needed this win, Eli. The Ravens had lost. They lost to Pittsburgh last week. They had a couple other losses in their schedule. So certainly a big bounce back for Baltimore, Eli. And I'm excited to see how this goes the rest of the season. The two Harbaugh brothers, we'll see if they meet again in the postseason. And yeah, good win for the Ravens. And that's it for week 12.
All right, let's get to our recaps of our picks now. We're going to break down, or we're going to pick for Thanksgiving and Black Friday. We'll start off with 12:30 p.m. on CBS, our Thanksgiving game, Bears-Lions. Detroit's favored by 10.5. So what that means is I am taking Detroit 24-20, but not by the spread.
Yeah, Eli, this is a pretty obvious one. 9 straight wins for the Lions. They have a 170.
Only makes an exit.
Yep, they have a 177 point differential. That is absurd. In 11 games to have that kind of point differential, that is ridiculous. So this is an easy one for me, Eli. The Lions will win here, 32-18. Again, it's a divisional game. Divisional game. They can always be. Divisional games are never a guarantee. Like, divisional games can always be very close, especially in the NFC. The two North divisions, the NFC North, the AFC North, are always very close. but they're just too much here for the Bears to overcome Eli. I mean, Gibbs and Montgomery are the best running back duo in the league. There's a lot of injuries for the Lions, Eli, especially on that defense, but I think they will do more than enough to get the win here on Thanksgiving.
All right, the next game, Dallas.
Eli, if you don't, I would say the Lions have not won a Thanksgiving game since 2016. That's the last time the Detroit Lions won on Thanksgiving. So
That's a good
it is
point.
definitely risky to pick them, but it's been 8 years since the Lions last won. The last time the Lions won on Thanksgiving, it was Jared Goff's rookie season. And look at Jared Goff now, a seasoned veteran. So we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, that's a fair point. Appreciate that. Good note there. Let's go to the Giants. They take on the Cowboys. We don't know who the quarterback is. It may be DeVito. Might be Drew Lock. Maybe. We'll see. But Dallas is favored by 3.5. 4:30 on Fox. Let me take the Cowboys. 15-12. I don't think we're going to see much scoring in this game, but I think Dallas is going to get the victory here.
Yeah, Cowboys win 23-14. I liked what I saw from them last week. I like what I saw from Cooper Rush and from the Cowboys defense. And against Tommy DeVito, the Giants, I think, stand pretty much, or it might not even be Tommy DeVito. It might be Drew Lock. Either way, I don't really think the Giants stand much of a chance, Eli. And by the way, we just got a text from Josh,
Yep.
the Bears fan. Watch out, boys. Bears are going to win on Thanksgiving. It's not impossible, but
not impossible.
I just can't see it, though, unfortunately. But yeah, give me the Cowboys, though, over the Giants.
All right, the Dolphins take on the Packers for Thanksgiving night football, 8:20 p.m. on NBC. Give me the Packers 28-21 into victory here. I think the Packers are going to do good in this game. They're going to get a victory here. I just don't think the Dolphins have a chance, but they are going to give them a fight.
Give me the Green Bay. Let's make it a sweep for the home teams. Give me the Packers to win at home. It's going to be a good game, Eli. I think 30-23 is the final. Now, Eli, before we go to our next game, let me just point out real quick that it's only week 13. We're not even in December yet, and there are already a couple of playoff clinching scenarios that can happen this weekend. So I'll mention them real quickly.
Yep.
The Kansas City Chiefs can clinch a playoff berth with a win against the Raiders on Black Friday, which we're about to talk about in a second, and a Miami loss on Thanksgiving. So Eli, it's possible that in 3 days we can have a team locked into the playoffs already. And who else but Andy Reid and the back-to-back Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. And the Buffalo Bills can clinch not only the playoffs, they can clinch the AFC East with a win over San Francisco on Sunday night and a Miami loss to Green Bay. So Buffalo could clinch the division already on only the first day of December. It's crazy, Eli, how the Bills have just dominated all season. But
would that eliminate the Jets automatically then? If they lose?
No, because the wild card. They could still be in the wild card, technically.
Great.
Yeah, technically. Right. So
even though they're okay, wow, that's crazy. All right, finally. Thank you, Jack, for the updates. Kansas City's here's by 13.5 as they take on the Raiders at home for the Black Friday special. 3:00 on ABC. The Raiders.
ABC, Prime Video.
And Prime Video. 3 p.m. Black Friday, Prime Video. Give me the Kansas City Chiefs because they ain't losing. 24-18. 24-18 is my pick. Kansas City, 24-18.
I'm going to call that now the second Eli score. 26-23 is the first one. I think 24-18 is his second favorite score.
It's not 26-23, Jack.
Yeah, but it's still 24-18 though. It's your second
but it's
favorite.
Not the official Eli score, okay?
I know. That's why I said it's your second. Who do you think's my pick, Eli?
I don't know. Maybe the Raiders?
Yes, give me the no. I'm joking. Don't listen to him. He's a troll. Give me the Kansas City Chiefs at home, 24-10. That defense is going to have a bounce back performance, and yeah, there's no way that the Raiders' third string quarterback possibly is going to take down the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead. This should not be the Prime Video game, Eli. It's a ridiculous game to have on Prime Video. I'm ashamed that this is the game that we have to sit through, but give me the Chiefs though.
Well, the good news is I don't have Prime Video, so I will not be watching that game.
All right. That's my lock of the week, by the way. Lock of the week is the Chiefs or the Raiders.
Lock of the week. We'll be live this on Friday at 4:30 p.m. during the game. I know it's sad. We're in during the game. We are doing it during the game, which is different for us, but we're going to do it anyways. 4:30 p.m. we'll be live right here on Search Sports. We hope you join us then. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Go Seahawks. Go Devils. Have a great Thanksgiving, everyone, and we will see you at Friday at 4:30. Good night,
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.